And yes, we are a VTuber today too. My minimum birthing age. Don't look at that. Don't worry about that. So, I honestly kind of just started the stream and I have like no clue what the hell I'm doing. So, where are we at? Right. I broke it. I wonder what is breaking it. But even so, it's here, right? So I'm even casting it here. Like I'm casting it. Source population dot population count. This is a uint. Uint 64. No. So why is it wrong? Uint people count. What if we just set this to be a uint too? Because I'm not sure if it has to do with the variable type here, or if something else is wrong. It could be this. But I'm not sure. Well, let's just make some changes and run it. Well, it's not in the several billions right now. Oh, Rapier. I'm alright. How are you doing? Alright. Let's just run that to 200 or something. I'm just looking for stabilization of generations. Generations should be around 65. And then when we reach a couple of million population count, it should pop up to like 70 plus. Now the population count shouldn't go like that high. Or rather, it should be able to go like super high. But the maximum value of an int 32 is actually 2 billion. So an int 32 isn't even enough to represent the population of Earth. I want to add commas to the population count because I can't tell. Ones, I feel like ones make it hard to gauge how many numbers there are. But the fact that you don't have 1,000 separators, you know, for all the stupid things Americans do when it comes to like numbers and stuff, 1,000 separators, I have no clue why we don't do that. It's so bad to not have them. You see, we have quite a lot of people now. I think that's 2 billion. Now we're past where a normal integers 32 would be having issues. So we seem to be fine. I'm using an int 64 now. No, I'm even using it's a uint. So that can have a value up to, I don't even know, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, 18 quintillion or something like that. I don't even know if those are real words. And I think that is good. It's one of those places where using an int 64 doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's a little bit more data, but we can handle that. Doesn't matter. What is this bullshit? What is this? How to stop Visual Studio from automatically adding using C#. No. Tools, options, text editor, C#, advanced, Add missing using directives on paste. Yeah, I hate that. I hate when it just adds random shit. So it did it because I pasted the uint. Even though the uint belongs to system uint 64. Like, it comes from system. But Visual Studio, in its infinite wisdom, is like, you know what? That's JavaScript. Let's add that. System.runtime.interop services JavaScript JS type. Like, no. What are you doing? So what do we want to do today? Except moan over Visual Studio being stupid. So we have population growth. I actually have population working the way I want it to. The population is always growing. So what next? I made a class called a city, but what about... I kind of want to call it like an area? Area feels super vague though. Maybe a location. Because I don't like city. City is too specific. So a location contains a population. It's not really that simple either though, because it can be like, what kind of population? Right? Because what if you have a game with multiple different species, like elves or dwarves or whatever? How do we handle that when it comes to the population? Should that just be like a counter in here? Maybe I have a list of people, but here I have just a list of generations. So maybe I need a list of people, as in plural. Or as in, not in plural, as in a people. And then the people contains a generation list. But if I do that, that's going to significantly increase the amount of calculations that need to be done. But at the same time, it might be significant. In fact, I do think it is significant. But do I call it people? Or do I just use population? Like you can have multiple populations, but I feel like it's I don't really like that. But at the same time, there's the worry of like using too many classes, like class in a class in a class, just because. So a location has a population. What else can we give a population? What can we give a location? I want to say resources, but what does that mean? I'm just thinking, because like food. Food is indeed a word. What else? What if we just say resources? Right. I'm just thinking. Maybe this should be a list of populations. Population list. You can't do this? Fair enough. That's what we'll do. If it's null, then we're just going to make a list. But you should be able to pass in a list. I suppose. I feel like this should have the same mechanic here. Something like that. Do uints need to be... No, no. What is inside Worldgen library? Nothing. Worldgen is just what my project is called. So it's really just... The only namespace being used is just whatever I have written here so far. I'm not really using any libraries, like external libraries, other than Monogame right now. And Monogame is this here. Handles creation of the screen and stuff, but I don't think it runs. No. So here in the main controller, we're currently setting up a population. But we should be setting up a public location for now. Let's get rid of the population. Maybe we return that. Yeah, right now I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of just making shit up as I go along. This is really, I'm kind of just experimenting with things I'm kind of unfamiliar with. Right now I'm trying to generate locations, and each location should have a population. The population should act based on parameters that the location has and whatnot. So I guess we need to make another function. Public void generate location. Don't really know what that's gonna do. Equals new location. Float food. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How do I represent resources? I think I have to define what one person what one person needs. Right? In terms of food and resources, and I don't even know what that means, but that's like access to building materials and that kind of stuff, I suppose. But it's a little hard to decide what to do when, because right now I have to just make like, I have to just use abstract things, right? So there being food is kind of like, I don't think a flat food value makes that much sense. I think there could be one. I think it might complicate things. Because if you just have like a value that's like, well, it's like resources, but rather like food growth or something, food income. And you just use that and you're like, one person uses one food income. So, or more, right? So that whenever food is less than the population, that's a period of starvation. Oh, it doesn't run right now. I have 7 critical errors. But the engine I'm using is called Monogame. If you're familiar with Unity, Monogame and Unity are basically brothers. They both come from the same mother, which is Microsoft XNA. But Monogame is a lot more basic. It doesn't come with an editor and all these tools that Unity come with. And it also doesn't come with all the baggage that Unity comes with. But right now I'm just in the thinking phase, I guess. But what if we just do this? Like, let's say we have food that's 100,000. And resources, that's also 100,000. I'm not going to do anything with the resources right now, but... And now here, I would like to make a list of populations. Yeah, no, it's fine. So let's say new list population. New population. Let's just say generate population there. And then we use this string. Like that. This needs to be a uint 64. Hello, Kibbs. And here we have population.generate. That also needs to be a uint 64. I don't think it should need to be, but it was misbehaving before. Okay, so locations need to have a handled year. Here I have a function called handle year. And then we go through for population list dot count. We're gonna say population list I dot handle deaths and spawn new generation. So this is wrong. This should be like handle population change or something, and deaths and spawning should be in the same function, and they should not be related to each other, because right now they are, because I'm doing deaths first. That means that the next generation will have less people to give birth to it, because I killed people off first. So that's wrong. It should be handled in the same function, and we should calculate how many people die, how many people are born, and then we apply it. Where do we have errors here? So we're drawing the population count. That needs to be location. Location dot local population. And we're going to rename that to local population count. And generation count. This one is a little harder. Let's see. Let's make location name. Haven't even added that. Public string name. String name. This dot name equals name. This dot food equals food. This dot resources equals resources. And then here, if this equals null, then that's that. Else, I'm gonna say for population list dot count, population list I dot source location equals this. And then the location is gonna be public string start location or test location name. Equals test location. That's how fun I am. Location dot name. And then here this one is a little difficult. It's like, how do I count generations? Like if there are like 3 different populations inside of one location and they all have generations, how do I count generations? I feel like it should just be on a per name or a per year basis, but it does become weird because it's like, what if one group has a generation or people that's at like they're 1 or 0 years old to 60 years old, then that's 60 generations in here because one generation is 1 year. But what if you have another like race of people who live until they're like 150 and maybe like half of them are dead, so you literally only have generations from like 100 to 150 years old. Now I have to like check how many generations of like unique birth years do I have, and that's where things become a little weird. Source location was null. Really? Oh, it is. Where do we create a population? It's like here. Generate population. Okay, no. How do I refer? Like, can you refer to itself somehow? So if I say generate population and we add like location source look, and then here I type like but this is like an invoke thing. No, this doesn't work. The order is weird. All right, let's change it. Let's not have a location, or let's not spawn it with a population, right? So we're just gonna say this, right? And I'm also gonna say population list equals new list population. Then we go back here and then we're gonna generate a location. And that's all it's gonna do. It's just gonna do this. And then we can say location location dot population list dot add generate population, which is this. And generate population needs a source location, which is just going to be location. And then instead, we're going to say generate location. What does that do? Error. We're still setting a null location. Why? So I say generate location. And that creates a new population. Oh, right. Right. Okay. I'll be right back. Back. All right, so here what's happening is that the population isn't taking a location, which it should need to. Then we're gonna say this dot source location equals location. equals source location and set. See here, it's doing like it's setting something, but we're gonna say if value is not equal 0, then we'll do something. There's actually that's not true. Because it could go to 0. And then here, generate population. I don't know why it's in here, to be honest. Let's move that to location. Because you can't have a population without a location. Then we can make it void again. And then we can say population list. Nah, let's say population.population like that. And then the population takes a source. But it should also take yeah, this is what it should be. Let's see. Hmm? Oh yeah, something. Current year, location. This is location, name, position. Something like that. We have a location name. We don't have generations anymore. We also, we're doubling up on population too, which is bad. Why is that happening now? We generate location, which creates a new location, which creates the population list, and then the starting population size is 10,000. And as we generate that, we then create a population. And the population will set. When I set population count here, we generate, it does this. That's why. It's because I'm doing population.generate. And it was also doing population.generate in its constructor. So now we have 10,000. But now we don't have population growth or anything. And that's because on update, it used to say handled year. Where did that go? I didn't delete that or anything. Oh yeah, here, current year. It says handle year. If location is not null, then location.handleYear. And then we're gonna say if population list equals null, then return. Else we're gonna do population list.handleDeaths spawn generation current year. If generation list equals null, we are generating a population. I don't understand why nothing is happening. Location handled year. That happens. And this is not null. Is that what's happening? It is. Why does it not have a population. Like, what is this then? Location dot generate like generate location. It's the first thing I do. We generate location. It does generate population. Oh, that's why. It needs to say population a list dot add new population. I was just creating a population locally. Now it works. All right. Okay, now what? I still do want to print generations, so I feel like how should I handle it? Almost a case of using a dictionary, right? Like each generation just like adds itself to a dictionary. Using its year as key. And then we just check if the key exists, then we don't do anything. Or its age, rather. It's one of those things that's a little bit more complicated than you realize at first. Is a dictionary the best for that? Isn't there like a hash table or something? But I don't think that's what I want. I don't want to use hashes. I just want to do key value pairs. It's just one of those things. I don't really like it. Because it means that in order to check, like, how many generations do we have right now, it means it has to go through each generation, and they each have to report, and they each have to do a test to see, you know, like, do we exist or not. And I just don't really, I don't like it. But it could be what I have to do. Population. So what do we want to call it? Public int get generation count. And then we do something like no, that's going to be total. So get generation count. So we're going to say dictionary. So it takes a T key. Does it need to be a dictionary? I think that's the best. So that's gonna be birth year. And the T value doesn't need to be anything. So birth year is going to be an integer. And then we're going to say return generation dict.count. And then here we're going to say for generation list.count, generation list I dot birth year. We're gonna see generation dict dot add. Generation list I dot birth year. I literally, I don't need the other variable, which makes me kind of wonder if that dictionary is the right choice. The birth year is apparently a float. Um, I don't like that. Let's change that. It's still not that easy. Because here we have the population, but we have a list of populations. So this is actually something that needs to be in location rather than in population. So this should say get generation count, and then we should say for each for population list.count. This should be you. It goes in here, and we're gonna say population list I dot generation list population list. There. And then we're gonna do a generation dict thing there. And then we return the count. And then we need to say on draw generation count. This is called every frame, which is like so heavy. Location dot get generation count. We have 80 generations there. 79. All right, so it works again. We do have the correct amount of generations, but I worry for the frame rate of that. But that's something that can be handled later. Because here I'm literally just drawing it, and that's one of those things that should be handled as it is handled. So if you spawn a new generation, that event should alter this value. So it's just like a readable thing, not something you have to generate and get every single time. But rather it should be every year update. The generation count should be updated internally. And In fact, maybe I can just do that. Because here we have location.handleYear. And then what if we just say public int generation count? And then here we say generation count equals get generation count after we handle the year. That way I can just say location.generation count, right? Yeah. But it only updates after year 1 now. Because, let's see, location.generate population. No, it's still not right. Because here, like we do generate location, and then we do location.generate population. And here generation count. Oh. This dot generation count. There, now it says 80 immediately. All right. So we're now doing handle year here, and we're doing population list dot handle deaths. I don't like the system here. Let's see. Let's say public vector 2 text vertical text spacing, and let's make it a float, equals 30f. And then here we just say time is vector 2.0, and then the rest are gonna be vector 2.0 new vector 2 0, and then vertical text spacing times 1. There. Right. So what I wanted to do... Actually, let's say int I equals 0. Let's call it text spacing iterator equals 0. And then I'm gonna say the same thing here too, right? Except it's gonna be times text spacing iterator plus plus. And then we just write that every time. That should work, right? Yeah. And then, because now I can just do this without having to mess around with whatever it's gonna say. Right, so now we show food as well. And now the question is, handle deaths. How do we incorporate deaths in the death rate? Right now it's just current age divided by life expectancy. And what if we say parentheses times source population dot source location dot food divided by source population dot source location dot local population count. But it's not that simple, because food can be higher than the local population count. So what we need to say is if source population food is greater than local population count, then 1 else we do that. So now we have created a scenario where as long as there's more food than there are people, it shouldn't affect the population growth. So the generation count should continue to decline here until like 65 for a while. And then once we reach 100,000, now we're gonna see a drastic decline. Am I doing this in the wrong way? Because we are gaining a lot. Oh, I think I'm doing it the other way around. Right, because we're doing current age. I'm doing death rate is 1 minus current age divided by life expectancy. So what that means is that the lower our age, the less we subtract from the death rate. So I'm multiplying it by people count times death rate. So if they're like 10, the death rate is like 0.98 or something, which means we delete 2% of the population. So this should be like this. We should do this first. So first we calculate the age death rate, which in this case, let's say they're 10, that would be like 0.98. And then we check food. And one F there means that as long as we have more food than the local population, then we just go by age death rate. The second we have less food, we then have a death rate that's represented by the amount of people exceeding the amount of food. So this should like stop us from going above 100,000. So now we have a limiting factor. See, now we're above. And we're still just climbing exactly as I intended. It's just going up, up, up. If food is greater than local population count, then 1F it's stopping now. It's managing to go a little above double. But not more than that. The generation count is now really low. I think that's good. Now, I actually don't really like RNG. Because I don't believe reality is RNG in any way. And because of that, I don't really like RNG as a foundation, really, for procedural generation. However, at some point you do have to incorporate some RNG, I think. Like, not exactly, but at least for the time being. For example, weather. What kind of weather are we having? That's gonna need to be RNG, for the time being at least. You can simulate weather. It's a lot of work compared to just having RNG, when the RNG has like the same effect pretty much. Like you can just have like a Perlin noise pattern or something, generate weather from that, and that's how you determine like droughts and stuff like that. Instead of just having like random population or random like food growth or food decline or whatever, we tie it to something else, which is weather mainly. Is there a dry season? Is it a bad summer? Food goes down. My last video where I was raging at X. Oh yeah. Today's been alright. I've just been confusing the shit out of myself because I have too many layers. I have like a main controller, and then I have a location, and inside the location I have a population, and inside of the population I have several generations. No, actually, in the location I have a list of populations, and then in the populations I have a list of generations, and it's just been kind of confusing going through them, I guess. But it's going all right. There are no bugs, so what's happening right now is I'm just kind of chilling, I guess. I'm creating a population that starts at 10k. and then it just grows forever. The generation count goes down markedly because the generation isn't up to snuff yet. Like there's like 1,000 1-year-olds and there's 1,000 80-year-olds, right? Like it's just the same, which it shouldn't be. So that just kind of stabilizes itself after a while. But what I've done is I've added food as a limiting factor. So instead of the population growing forever, we're now reaching the threshold where food starts having an effect. So I have 100,000 food. When the population reaches 100,000, it begins to slow down. And when it reaches around 230 to 240,000, what does generation count represent? Don't say the number of generations. It represents the number of generations. But yeah, the way I'm handling it right now is that a location contains a number of populations. And the reason there's a number of populations is because any one location might contain any number of populations, right? Like even if it's a city, it could be a population of humans, elves, dwarves, whatever, you know, kind of classification you want to use. That's why I opted for making it a list. And then each population consists of a list of generations, and each generation is a year, right? So every year a generation is born, in this case at least. And that generation is generated based on the rest of the population and their like age and stuff. So when I generate a new generation, I go through each generation and I just like add to the new generation based on like age divided by age expectancy, I guess. And yeah, that's how it works right now. I don't really know how I want to handle the like food resources stuff, because I feel like food a little difficult, right? Could food be an actual variable in terms of like food stores, right? Because there would be food income and then there's food stores as well, but for that I would have to create a similar system to like a population for food where food has age so that food can deteriorate, or at least have like food deterioration per year or whatever. Otherwise it's just gonna stack food forever. And yeah, I do want to do climate. The question is, how should I handle food? Because I want it to be a lot more complex than it is right now, but it's just like hard to start somewhere. But let's go to location. Let's just do something. Let's just slap something together, right? So, like, what would I want? What kind of variables would I want a location to have? I would like something like land fertility. I don't really know. Arable land. I feel like here I should have some kind of enum or something. How do you do enums? Is this how you do enums? Man, I like never set up an enum file, so I always forget. I have forgotten like every aspect of it. Hold on. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna open up my other enum. Enum. Public enum, that's how you type it. Okay. Public enum. Land type. Or should we say terrain type? 0 equals C. B equals 0. Plains equals 1. Mountain equals 2. Tundra equals 3. Whatever. Forest equals 4. I don't know. I don't think forest is terrain type. So I don't mean terrain type. I mean like... I mean like marshlands. You know, like a tundra can have a forest on it. That doesn't mean that it's a forest. It means that it's a forest on a tundra. A mountain can have a forest on it. That doesn't mean that it's a forest, it means it's a forest on a mountain, etc. Right? So here, terrain type, environment type, environment type, environment type. Did I spell something wrong? Environment type. Am I stupid? All right, so I don't really know how to do this. It's because I'm not using worldgen.system. Perhaps? No? Oh. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I wrote a type for some reason. Jesus Christ. I'm a little tired. But this shouldn't actually return 0. Like this. It should be... Does an enum always return an integer like that? Can it not be... Can it not return like anything? No. An explicit conversion exists. So I realize this is an enumeration, right? But that means I can't really represent, like, make C mean 0f, and planes means like 1.1f. Because that's what I wanted to do. I guess, I guess I'll just have to do consts. I mean, consts are fine, right? Don't look at the minimum birthing age. And then here we just type static class environment type. And then we say public static float C equals (0f). But okay, so like the class can't be const, but like, yeah. I can do this. But I don't like this either. Because that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna pee. So, this should be a class, and those should be those should inherit the class. So let's say then I'm basically doing what I did in the previous. Let's call this environment types. And then we can say public class C environment type. But I don't like this either. But this works. I mean, this does work. So we can just say like public float multiplier. And then here we're gonna say what I wanted to do with the enum was just be able to say like environment type.c and multiply by that, and it would just multiply by the C like by C's multiplier, right? But now it's a little harder because I want to be able to assign an environment type to it. But I don't want to have to make a new environment type. Well, you can't have a static class that inherits. Or can you? Can you inherit from a static class? I don't think so. Static classes must derive from object. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I trying to implement the enum system I was using before? I should just use some kind of lookup table. Yeah. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go back to this. And then we go here. We have environment type. Gonna hide these. And then I'm gonna say public environment type. Get set. And then we make a private one. Maybe. And if we set it, we're gonna set environment type equals value. And that's fine. And the getter should say it doesn't work because it can't return anything other than the environment type enum. You know what? I think I'm like super overthinking this. Let's just do environment type. That's it. All right. And then location is gonna need an environment type. It's also gonna need climate type. Is arid a climate? Yeah. Arid. Rainy. Cold. I mean, that's not a climate. It is, but no, it's not what I wanted. Whatever. Temperate. Cold. Whatever. Just shoving some things in there. Climate type. This dot climate type equals climate type. Now, public float. Should I call this? I'm looking for a word that can combine like fertility or like rain and temperature into one, I guess, like yearly fertility or something. Or year fertility. Land fertility 1. Variable equals 1. They should make a float type that only goes between 0 to 1. It's a normalized float value. I mean, it does that. It's just... It would be nice if it couldn't go above ever. Ooh. So here we are handling year. So what should we do with that? Year fertility equals right now I kind of just want to do something simple like 1f times something, right? And this is where I wanted to be able to have a lookup table. And how do you do that? You do something like you go to your consts and then you say public const float array. Environment type multiplier equals new float zero F so you can't have a const as what about a static? So you can have a static float array, but we can't have a const float array. Oh, that's fine. I don't really care either way. And then we have this, right? Plains. That's just going to be 1F. Mountains, 0.8F. Tundra, 0.65434. Marshlands, 0.6F. Maybe. Land fertility. So what should it be? Heading to bed? Alright, nighty night. So maybe something like const vars dot environment type multiplier environment type, convert that to an int. So we just do like, it's a tundra, that's its base, and then we multiply that by the other multipliers, and there we can say like land fertility times arable land times this is where weather needs to come in, and that's where we need to do some RNG stuff right now. But I don't know about like fertility of the land being 0 to 100. Or like using percentage. Because in that case, like, what should the baseline be? 50%? Same with arable land. Year. Is there an opposite word for drought? Opposite. Flood. Deluge. Downpour. No. Because, like, weather is stupid. What if we check thesaurus? We say rain. Hmm. But I don't like this either. I don't like using 0.5 as the baseline. Maybe I should do 0 to 2. That could be better. The reason for that is I want to be able to have more fertility, right? Like, it shouldn't just be one. Like, let's say planes are 1 when it comes to how fertile it is. That shouldn't mean that it can only go down from there. Like, you should still be able to have a good year. Or maybe it should just be down from there. I don't know. Because maybe a good year is just the fact that you're getting what you expect, right? And not necessarily like we're having a fantastic year. All right, you know what? let's just do this. And then we have to generate... Am I gonna play Expedition 33? No. It looks super boring. I'm gonna play Necess. And I might play... I bought another game called Lost Skies. I have Necess and Lost Skies. This is some kind of survival open world crap game. It looks kind of meh. I thought you loved JRPGs? No, I hate JRPGs. They're all trash. But I hate them because I used to love them. But they're all just Final Fantasy 1, so I just don't think they're fun anymore because they don't do anything. They don't have gameplay. Like almost not a single one. All Final Fantasy 1. Persona, all Persona games are Final Fantasy 1 but worse. Octopath Traveler is Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy X is Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy 7 is Final Fantasy 1. Expedition 33 seems to be Final Fantasy 1. But worse. Because you have to press a button for timing and I hate that. So for me that's worse. But they have the same gameplay depth as Final Fantasy 1, which I just don't care for anymore. It's just... There's like 2 brain cells that go into playing it. And I don't really... almost never care for the stories. I do love JRPGs as a concept. I don't like them the way people are executing them, or like ever have. There are only a small handful of JRPGs I think are actual games. And those are like mid. Like Grandia. Grandia has some actual mechanics. It doesn't really work out, but it has some stuff. Cosmic Star Heroine also has some actual mechanics. And Star Renegades. But all other games don't have game mechanics. Persona does not have game mechanics. So yeah, no. Now we need to public void generate weather, I guess. I wish I had a tuple. I wish tuples were just a thing. But I guess we can use a vector too. Vector 2. Huh? So what did we make here? Climate type. Arid goes from 0 to 0. I don't know. I don't think this is good enough. But let's just do something, you know. But I find this like offensively bad. I hate it. The reason I hate it is because... Oh, I'm not even looking at the right. Cold, temperate, rainy. Yeah, whatever. The reason I hate it is because I don't think weather is this simple, and I would really like to have some better function for weather. Because, like, for example, a sub-Saharan type area with, or even just like a Saharan area where you have droughts that can last for years. And then you get a monsoon. I don't know if they have that in the Sahara, but whatever. Sometimes they get a monsoon. So that weather would actually be from like 0 to 1. But it's just a lot more complicated than that. So that's why I hate this. But we'll just do something like that for now. Precipitation equals random dot shared. Oh yeah, okay. So you have to do like random rand equals new random. Precipitation equals a rand dot next single but I want between. Monogame random.range. Monogame random. Monogame docs. Random. Random. C# random. Oh, okay. You can do this. So precipitation is you say const vars dot weather type multiplier, and then we have a climate type int dot x plus I'm gonna do this vector to range equals. So you say range dot x plus range dot y times rand next single. That's how you do it. So random will then give you a float between 0 to 1. So you then have your minimum range, and then you add your maximum range multiplied by a normalized float. I wonder which float it's, or which vector 2 is better. System.numerics or XNA's float. There. So that's how you get precipitation, then you get year fertility. And All right, and then we do that. And then we find wherever am I using food. Find all references. We're using it here. So instead we're gonna say current year food. And then we're gonna say here, food should be current year food. What's that gonna look like? Build error. Name, food, environment type. Food is now varying from year to year. Which is going to cause the population to fluctuate as well. I want to visualize this, but I don't feel like programming it right now. But I also think this should be somewhat more complex. That's what I want to do. I don't want to just do basic. Which is also, you know, classic mistake, doing it too much. But that's the entire point of this. So what I want is I want to write something where instead of people just giving birth and dying, you know, based on how much food there is, I want people to choose whether to have children to some degree, depending on current situation. You know, can we feed another child, etc., that kind of stuff. But I would say the most important thing here now is simulating weather a bit. Because weather... well, I don't know. I guess weather is pretty volatile per year. Last year's weather doesn't really represent next year's weather in any way. But I do have one issue here. And it's that right now it's like it is abstracted. Like we're only doing one thing per year. And that's not necessarily the idea. Because I don't really want years to just fly by. I want the passage of time and simulation of the population to be something that is a bit more ongoing. And I want time to fly by a little bit slower. So this is something where we can change the passing of time to a float. But I still think stuff like this in the background needs to have some method of abstracting. Because we can't just simulate everything every frame, right? Like, that has to be something that is only done for something that's relevant, like the current area or whatever. But like if there are tons of other locations, it doesn't make any sense. But I think this is progress. I like that we have basic weather generation, fertility that is fluctuating. I mean, it's literally only fluctuating based on weather. But I do think, like, land fertility and these kind of things can change. In fact, land fertility would go down. Very, very slowly, but it would go down. Well, maybe. Yeah. I guess that really depends on like fertilization techniques and stuff like that. Because in reality, produce isn't necessarily moved away from the area. So I don't know. I think it's fine to keep it the way it is, like just static for now. The weather has the biggest impact on anything, regardless. But I think I'm gonna stop there for today. I don't want to push it. I just want to do some programming now and then to get into the habit of it a bit more. But I don't want to push it because then I'm just gonna not do it anymore. So like 2 to 3 hours is good. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging.